Long before cartoons moved, a simple idea appeared. Pictures could carry stories. A shape could show an idea. A face could show a feeling. And a picture could make someone wonder. Artists learned that exaggerating shapes could make pictures funnier, clearer, and easier to remember. Soon, cartoons became more than pictures. Exaggeration gave characters their own visual personality. But one picture could only show one moment, so creators began placing moments beside one another. Now the star could appear to jump, run, or turn when each picture showed the next part. Rapidly shown images could fool our eyes into connecting separate moments into one flowing action. The little experiment had discovered something magical. Still images could create the feeling of movement. Creators wanted to go further, turning this clever illusion into stories that actually moved. Artists began creating many individual drawings, carefully changing each one so the character seemed to move. A simple walk became a performance as timing, spacing, and carefully planned poses brought personality to movement. Exaggerated movement made cartoons readable, funny, and full of energy, even before they could speak. Soon, a cartoon character could react to problems, make choices, and feel like a little performer. With better acting, even a tiny action could become a complete little story. The cartoon was no longer just moving pictures. It was becoming a character audiences could follow. Then sound entered the adventure, giving movement a rhythm and making cartoons even more expressive. Music could guide a character's steps, while carefully timed sounds made every action feel alive. Now a cartoon could combine movement, music, effects, and eventually voices into one complete performance. The little star had learned a powerful trick. Sound could make movement feel bigger than the picture itself. Then color transformed the screen, turning familiar characters and worlds into brighter, richer experiences. A cartoon could now create entire visual worlds, each with its own mood, color, and atmosphere. Backgrounds became important too, giving characters places to explore instead of leaving them floating in empty space. As animation grew, creators began building bigger worlds and longer stories that could fill an entire screen. Characters could travel through forests, cities, oceans, and imaginary places without leaving the animated world. Stories also became emotional journeys, where characters could face problems, make choices, and change. The cartoon had grown from a drawing into a storytelling medium, capable of carrying an audience through a complete adventure. Then cartoons moved into homes, bringing animated characters closer to everyday family life. Shorter adventures made characters easy to recognize, follow, and welcome back again and again. Different styles appeared, but the goal stayed familiar: make people imagine, laugh, feel, and remember. But another transformation was approaching, and this time the tools themselves would become part of the story. Computers changed animation, allowing artists to build, edit, color, and move digital creations with new flexibility. Instead of changing every physical drawing by hand, creators could manipulate digital elements with remarkable precision. Worlds could now be changed quickly, letting creators test ideas and build increasingly complex scenes. And beyond digital drawing waited a bigger change: characters that could truly occupy three-dimensional space. For the first time in our journey, the cartoon character had real depth, volume, and a place in three-dimensional space. Artists could now move virtual cameras around a character, just as they would in a real three-dimensional set. Depth also changed movement, because characters could now interact with space, light, shadows, and physical-looking motion. Lighting became part of the storytelling too, helping a simple scene feel cheerful, mysterious, peaceful, or exciting. Weather, water, particles, and other effects could make digital worlds feel richer while keeping them completely imaginary. Today, cartoons can inhabit enormous 3D worlds where every corner can become part of the adventure. A modern cartoon character can run, climb, explore, and react with movement designed for a cinematic world.
Even a puddle can become part of the story when a carefully placed camera turns a small moment into a memorable one. Modern animation can make tiny movements matter, giving ordinary details their own place inside a story. From a tiny symbol to a full cinematic hero, the cartoon had gained an entire world in which to breathe. Modern cartoon stories still depend on an old idea. Give the character a problem, then let its actions move the story forward. Once characters became fully dimensional, environments could be designed around them as complete animated worlds. And behind every finished cartoon world is another world of artists, designers, animators, and storytellers. A finished cartoon may look effortless, but its world is built from thousands of carefully designed pieces. Camera movement can guide attention, turning the same 3D world into comedy, adventure, mystery, or emotion. The cartoon had traveled an extraordinary distance, but its journey was still moving forward. The future of cartoons will keep changing as artists discover new ways to build and animate imaginary worlds. Entire environments can now be planned, changed, and refined digitally while the character remains at the heart of the story. As tools become more powerful, creators can explore more possibilities, but every story still needs a meaningful direction. Even with advanced technology, the simple idea behind a cartoon remains surprisingly powerful. A line can become a character can become a world, and a world can become a memory. Every new generation of animation carries pieces of what came before it. Tools changed, screens changed, and techniques changed, but the desire to tell stories never disappeared. And that brings our journey back to the heart of the adventure, the joy of watching an idea come alive. From simple marks to moving worlds, the cartoon's journey has always been a journey of imagination. The newest 3D hero can still trace its roots back to the simplest visual idea. The poses, timing, sound, color, and three-dimensional movement all grew from one basic desire: to show a story. Each generation added a new tool, but none erased the creativity that came before. And tomorrow's cartoons may look completely different while still making audiences feel the same spark of wonder. Every new cartoon begins somewhere, often with nothing more than a tiny idea waiting to become a world. The tools may keep evolving, but the storyteller still asks the same wonderful question: what happens next? A cartoon's life is never truly finished, because every new story can begin the journey all over again. From the smallest drawing to the most detailed digital world, every stage belongs to the same creative family. And so the journey continues, carrying old ideas into new worlds, new screens, and new imaginations. Its shape may change, its tools may change, but imagination remains the heart that keeps cartoons alive. And that is the life of a cartoon. An idea becomes movement, movement becomes stories, and stories become memories.